this was it, and this was one of the things really where my first natural inclination was to move and to find a different address. But then I kind of thought, no, because if they're going to find me, they're going to find me, and I didn't want to make it worse by adding like another level onto the top of it. So I mean, in the end, I didn't even lock the front door, because I thought if it comes and it happens, if they just walk in through the door, I probably won't even know what's going on. You know, I'll be asleep, and I won't even, you know, I just won't wake up. There'll be nothing for me. It won't even happen. Do you know what I mean? I won't even recognise it actually sort of taking place. Whereas if I live behind locked doors and security cameras and all this sort of stuff, all that ever does is just increase your level of fear and anxiety to start with. And it was that sort of, I just thought if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And trying to adopt like it's like a stoical approach to it, really. Just like that, I can't do anything to control this situation. So I just need to sort of kind of just try and put that on the back burner, and what will be with that. And I just need to try and develop a better life, or a life for myself here. And you know, in the meantime, and just see what happens. And again, I was always conscious within Manchester, the wheel turns very quickly, and people that are at the top, you know, end up at the bottom very, very quick. Funny enough, I've got that tattoo on the back of my leg, the Wheel of Fortune. It's kind of something that's always sort of stuck in my mind, because that's how I kind of felt. One day I felt like I was living like a king or a prince, and then within the space of a couple of weeks, I was broken. I was at the bottom. Do you know what I mean? And so I was kind of conscious with Manchester. I know this happens, and people come and go. They go into prison. They have their lives taken. There's all this stuff that comes in it, because that's the type of lifestyle you live, and everyone accepts that. So I also knew there was a good chance that the guys that I owed my money to, their time in the sun had passed, and somebody else would come up, and the avenue for me coming back again. And because, like I said, I although things went really wonky the last 6 months, I had a good reputation. I was known as a good earner. I'd been trying to, a few of the sort of bigger guys had tried to poach me before to get me to come and work for them, and to sort of work exclusively for them. And I'd always kind of resisted that, because I wanted to maintain my independence. But I kind of knew that at some point, if I wanted to, all I had to do was basically get a bigger, nastier set of friends. Do you know what I mean? And I could have come back that way if once things had calmed down. But again, like I said, I think it was just... it sounds really cheesy, but Bangor saved me. It gave me this time and this space to work out who I was as a person, and I didn't feel that I had any sort of social constraints upon me to behave in certain ways, or to, do you know what I mean? It was just a completely different environment from what I was used to, full stop. So it was just like a complete breath of fresh air for me, really, and just something that... I just took to it straight away. I love the pace of life here, and like I say, I've said before, don't get me wrong, it has its issues. The substance misuse problems in particular, social deprivation. You know, it's a poor area in some ways. Our local sort of wards, like classed as like one of the 10 most deprived areas in Wales. But compared to Manchester, like there was no serious organised crime. There was no guns. There was... You know, where I grew up, you couldn't have a row with somebody in the pub. You couldn't have crosswords without worrying about what would happen afterwards, and escalation and this, that and the other. And I saw it in Bangor very quickly. It was old school. People had a fallout. They'd go outside and have a straightener, and then come back in and shake hands and carry on. You know, and it wasn't, like I said, there was just no shootings. There was no murders. It's a very, very safe place to live. And it was just, like I say, it was complete difference for me, like chalk and cheese completely. So it was just like... I mean, like I said, it was never intentional, you know, to settle here longer term, but just the longer I was here, the more comfortable I felt, the more I just became kind of sort of like part of the fabric, really, almost. I mean, to the extent now that on sort of like bank holidays, when I'm stuck behind a load of traffic, I'm complaining about English tourists and holiday makers coming to Wales and making it difficult for us locals to go out and do our shopping and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?